الترحيب بمجدولين المواقع.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everything is gendered. According to a 2021 World Bank study, at least 40% of women in the Middle East and North Africa face violence during their lifetime. Gender-based violence is violence against an individual based on their gender. That's why, what's the first thing that comes to mind when someone says gender studies? One of the reasons why people will refuse or refrain from having discussions regarding gender studies is because they think it's exclusively related to women, when in fact it involves the study of both men and women, and it emphasizes the fact that gender is never isolated, and it's always intertwined with other factors in the world, like class, ability, citizenship, life experiences, among others. Some of you may ask, why choose a major in gender studies when I could have chosen something more practical, something that my parents can brag about to the extended family, the neighbors, anyone in their immediate vicinity? Well, as an Arab woman from the Levant, I became accustomed to listening to political discussions at every family gathering. I was raised by two lawyers who instilled within me the importance from a young age of the laws that discriminate against women. I realized then that I wasn't going to be content with the way things were. And I realized that politics was an inescapable part of my life. So I ended up with my background in politics from the Lebanese American University, which gave me the policy mindset. And now with my graduate studies at HBKU, which gave me the contextual framework to pursue an investigation of the way violence against women intersects from a web of legal, social, political, economic factors, particularly in the Lebanese current crisis context, as my master's thesis topic. Having said that, you know what's something no one ever says? I really enjoyed writing my thesis. Now, don't get me wrong, it's such a fulfilling process, it's such a fulfilling end result, but the process. First off, no one tells you that you need to be very passionate about your topic, because bear in mind you're going to be conducting research for the better part of a year, so you're going to be fully submerged within it. And even when you get to the point where you're totally sick of it, you have that core motivation to remind you why you're doing this in the first place. Likewise, no one tells you how solitary of a process writing can be, especially with a heavy topic like mine. Having to wade through so many legal documents and research at times left me drained and overwhelmed. I had to realize then that I needed to step back, take myself on long mindful walks, and remind myself why I was doing this in the first place, which is, even though I was super lucky to have supportive parents, I would always hear, first of all, second, now is not the time to discuss such matters when there are more important matters happening in the world and in the country itself. But to me, women's rights are interlinked with everything. And women's safety is a priority. So it's always the time to talk about them. That's why, while writing, I would make it an effort to strike up conversation with people outside my field regarding my topic, just to see how it comes across and how the arguments are. This actually helped initiate dialogue and helped me structure my arguments much better in a more persuasive manner within my thesis. Second, as a graduate student, you should be aware of your kit of necessities, the things that sustain you, which include, but are not limited to, loads of coffee, scheduling your nervous breakdowns. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but needing an all-nighter or two, but, as a last resort. And most importantly, having a study buddy. Having a study buddy is so vital because of the effect they're going to have on your sanity and your motivation levels. They're going to act as someone who's going to push you when you're feeling demotivated and vice versa. Third, be realistic about your goals. My buddy and I made an overly ambitious writing schedule where we thought we were going to work 100% of the day, every day. But that doesn't work like that because you have to factor in your breaks. And second, because of the amount of writing and rewriting you're going to be doing, you have to tell yourself that this is not going to work this way. So, I say, write anything at all, even when you don't feel like it or when you feel like it doesn't make sense. Because of the amount of rewriting and writing you're going to be doing, this ultimately helps you down the line, and you'll thank yourself later when you write extensively, because you're able to leave your draft and come back and read it through a fresh set of eyes. Fourth, and which was the most crippling at times and most crucial to get over, was the self-doubt. The second guessing of yourself constantly, and the consideration that, what if I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough to be doing this? At times I would think, why would anyone care about what I have to say? This obviously took a toll on my emotional well-being, and it perpetuated a cycle of worry and fear. And to cope, I procrastinated. I put off writing until I had something deemed worthy to write. To counter being completely paralyzed by fear, I realized something. That first, we're oftentimes our harshest critics. And so I had to treat myself with the same kindness and compassion I reserve for others. So, I needed to see tangible reminders of my success. So I made a list of the accomplishments that got me to where I am today. And I realized, coming from a gender studies background, one which validates women's voices and experiences, is exactly why I should be writing. Ultimately, while this thesis writing process was daunting, it was because I realized the importance of my voice that I was able to push through. Realizing the importance of your voice allows you to realize that whatever you're doing is worthwhile. To me, politics is a matter of necessity. This thesis was a way of reclaiming my voice in history, to showcase that I and other women resist and persist. To you, I say, find your voice and use it. Everything you have to say is worthwhile. Thank you.